Action research is different. Action research is the opposite because you are actively doing it. So let's say we want to design a fitness program that can be done in our backyards without leaving the yard. Can we stay fit and healthy? Let's test it. And so we're actively engaging, living through something to see what the impacts are. So it's a very different type of research. All of these have a place. All of these could be used differently depending on the type of research you want to engage with. So when we start this, we need to document, and some of this can be done before you actually engage in your primary research, and some of it can be done after. Some of it you might do before you engage in your research, and then you discover that it's changed, and so you'll have to reflect upon that. So when you're annotating your primary resources, I would strongly suggest that you always start with identifying your purpose. What is the type of information you wanted, how you were planning on obtaining that, and whether you're trying to find out something new or trying to confirm something you already know. Then you're going to talk to us about the audience. Who were the participants? Why are they credible? What is it about their selection that was useful? Then you're going to talk about your methodology. This is your steps that you undertook. So you go all the way back to the beginning, to the fact that first of all, you looked them up on the university database. Then you found the articles they'd published. Then you checked their research background. Then you worked to find their email address. Then you sent them an email. They didn't respond. So you sent another email. They didn't respond. So you rang them. All of that needs to be documented in your methodology, coming at it from the perspective of you discussing the useful steps you made. We don't want the happy story of the research project, like once upon a time on January 7th, I did this. We want the most effective step I took was to actually call them after I'd emailed them twice. Then we need to talk about your bias and your sampling. So we need to think about how it is that you've tried to counteract this. And we need to think about the uses and the limits of your questions. And this is your specific interview or survey questions. So it's really important that you talk through each individual question. What was this designed to achieve? How are you going to achieve it? After the interaction, you can talk about the data you got, and you can also talk about whether it achieved what you thought it would. So then what we have next is what this will look like on a page. So these sections will vary in size for different individuals, of course, but I would definitely make sure that you have your key information there as per usual, any key quotes, maybe some screen grabs of the graphs that you have, and what focus questions or parts of your research this is helping you to answer. Then, as we talked about before, going through the purpose, the methodology, identifying the audience and all of those sorts of things within this, our evidence of our question design and our refinement. As we said, this is where we're talking about bias and those sorts of things. Any evidence of interaction that helps to support your evidence in ways that your methodology hasn't. So maybe you want to show us the email you sent. You don't need to include every single email you sent. Then you might have some more of your data collection as needed. Then we go back to a normal kind of source analysis process where we're talking about whether it was a useful interaction. We're summarizing our usefulness, limitations, our key information, ethics, capability, any decisions that we made, any future planning, unanswered questions, and cross-referencing. Now, you might not fit all of those things in. You might decide you don't want to do all of those things. That's okay. It depends on the layout of your work and your intentions. The ones that are pretty much non-negotiable, though, are in purple because we have to have this stuff at the top. We need our source analysis, and we really need some discussion about why this source was good.